Greetings, meatbags. This is the ISO. I don't think I need to introduce this game. Everyone and their meatbag mothers are posting about it. I just want to talk about my impressions of palworld, and maybe make commentary on some companies. With that intro out of the way, is palworld any good? Short answer, yes. But let me elaborate on the history that I have with Pokemon, and how long I've been thinking about something like this, and how people in my age category, millennials, have been asking for a Pokemon open world game, and kind of our thought process. Or maybe for MMOs in general. I mean, this is an open world game, but MMOs kind of fall into that open world kind of gameplay. But heads up, and buckle up, I'm about to bash Nintendo, because I love-hate this company. Let me take you back to the year 2000. Before I became a glorious metallic being, I, with some of my friends, were Pokemon fanatics. This is the year 2000, so a couple of years after Red and Blue came out. Pokemon cards were being sold on the street, and the main Pokemon games were also Gold and Silver, and also Pokemon Stadium. And that came out at the beginning of the year. This was on the Nintendo 64. I remember talking with some of my close friends at lunch in the school cafeteria. We were looking to the future of Pokemon, and we had beaten the games and wanted more. One of my friends said that along the lines of, oh man, they should make a multiplayer world for Pokemon, like in 3D. Another one of my friends said something like, that would be awesome. We could explore the world of Kanto together. And of course I'm paraphrasing, but the ideas were there. Other games in this year were Majora's Max, The Sims, and online games like EverQuest and Diablo 2. Some of us theorized that Pokemon Stadium could be like an MMO and kind of play similar to maybe an EverQuest or a Diablo 2, but in 3D. And it would be awesome. But us naive kids knew nothing about how rigid Japanese corporations worked. I wasn't enthralled by Gold and Silver as much as I was with Red and Blue, and didn't have the same emotional connection with Gen 2 like I did with Gen 1. By the time Ruby and Sapphire came out in 2003, I had grown into somewhat of an adult, or getting there, and had completely lost interest in Pokemon. Even the show was lame to me. I gave up on waiting for Game Freak to get their shit together, and I was more interested in stuff like Dragon Ball Z, Halo, and GTA 3, and Armored Core. Don't forget that. My taste had changed. I kind of grew out of Pokemon. By 2004, there was a surge of interest in my friends, and they were talking about Pokemon. And my initial reaction to my friends was, man, that shit's for kids. But in the same sentence, or in the same idea, train of thought, I would also say something like, I gave up on Pokemon because I want them to do an open world, or an MMO. That would be interesting. And then I just dropped the subject, because I didn't want to talk about the 2D Game Boy Advance or DS Pokemon games are out, because it was the same thing as Red and Blue back in 98 and 99. It wasn't different. But I never truly gave up on the idea that Pokemon could reach its potential by doing something like that. And now, throughout the 2000s and the 2010s, there were some Pokemon games that were modded together that were MMOs in their own right, or they were open world online games. And guess what? Nintendo crushed those dreams. And I also remember that there was some leak about a fully 3D MMO in 2004, I think it was. And my impression of this company started to degrade around that time. Usually it was around the GameCube era. Other things were pulling for my attention. Things on the PlayStation and things on the Xbox. So this kid's console became less of an interest for me. And it took till Smash Bros. Coming out on the Wii for it to grab my attention back. But still, in my mind, I continue to see Nintendo as this apple of the gaming world. They keep their walled gardens tall and their die-hard zealots locked in, and sue anyone who slanders them or vaguely messes with their property. So here we are, 25-ish years later, with something that resembles the vision of us old fucks having dreamed of as kids. Maybe one of my millennial peers had a similar sentiment, and got sick of Nintendo's greed and non-innovation in the Pokemon department. But what's wild is Breath of the Wild, see that? See what I did there? Was so fantastically popular and innovative that people who had no interest, such as myself, in Nintendo properties were suddenly buying Switches just to play this one game. And of course, the game was heavily inspired by other open world games. Skyrim, Assassin's Creed. I'm going to skip over the joke known as Pokemon Go. Mobile gaming is cancer. But back to palworld. I swear people who developed this game had a similar mindset to people my age, because we grew up with Pokemon but also matured and like things like Call of Duty and GTA. That's probably why it has mature themes and guns. Palworld caters to the murder hobo in all of us. More robot murder hobo. Ignoring that. I mean, I really love this game because it's a weird mix of Valheim, GTA, Breath of the Wild, and Pokemon. I haven't touched Pokemon since I was like a young teenager. Like, come on. But also is that I know some harder core Pokemon people aren't interested in Palworld. Maybe they see it as a imitation or a shallow imitation. That's probably more accurate, I guess, but I don't know. That's why I would like you to comment if you are a Poke Freak and Palworld isn't interesting to you. I want to know kind of where your sentiment sits on this game and why you aren't playing it. I may be the target audience for this game, but I don't know if this also rings true for younger fans out there. That essentially encapsulates my feelings on Palworld. Initially, I did have some interesting gameplay and footage that I've been showing here. I was playing the Game Pass version here, so me and 3 other friends made a server, and we teched up pretty quick in a short period of time. It was only a few hours, but a lot of the gameplay mechanics it shared was with Valheim, and what's cool is it was not obtrusive, and you didn't need a huge amount of resources. They didn't waste time with resource gathering and maintenance. And we're starting to shift over to the making our pals do the work for us. So it's kind of an interesting like mechanic. Like automation has been in certain other survival games where you have like a machine doing it, but having like your Pokemon be slave labor? Come on, that's unique. Like, you can't find that anywhere else. So I see why it hasn't triggered any copyright issues. That the Pokemon are the focus of the game, but like the gameplay mechanics are unique. The themes are unique. It blows my mind that the issues that this game has with functionality and its number of bugs, like you don't even have like character names. Like other characters have like a number attached to their name. So like your friend is known as user number, 456 or something like that. Like there's no basic stuff. So it's amazing that this game sold over 100, I think it's 140 something million dollars worth of the game copies, and it is such an incomplete game. Like that's how strong the sentiment is to have a Pokemon MMO or open world game. So the idea by itself made it work, and that's interesting. So this game kind of goes counter to the theme that I want to do on this channel, but I felt a bit too much of a personal story resided within it, and I feel like I wanted to tell that story. So sorry if it's not sci-fi themed. That's kind of what I'm going for here. I'll be getting back on EVE Vanguard soon enough, and I will be soon making a video for my thoughts on the current state of Star Citizen. So let me know if you are interested in more varied games that I talk about, or if you want me to focus on a specific type of game. And please sub if you haven't done it yet. I appreciate it. It's the only way to grow the channel. And until next video, I'll see you then, Meatbag. Bye.